I never thought I'd be the woman who had to say, I took in someone I loved and trusted, and she repaid me by sleeping with my husband. But life has a funny way of teaching you the most painful lessons through the people closest to you. My name's Claire. I'm 36, a registered nurse in Austin, Texas, married for nearly a decade to a man I truly believed had my back. Michael, my husband, was the stable, dependable kind. Not overly romantic, not flashy, but warm and steady. The kind of man who always picked me up from late shifts, who made coffee for me before I woke up, who rubbed my feet when I was too tired to move. We didn't have kids, yet, but we talked about it often. The plan was to wait until we were both completely settled. A few more years, we said. We were building a good life. Or so I thought. Then there was Samantha, or Sam as everyone called her. She and I met at the University of Houston, freshman year. We were roommates, total opposites. I was quiet, bookish, anxious. She was loud, impulsive, fun. The kind of girl who'd drag you to an open mic night or crash a frat party. And I loved that about her. I really did. Through college and beyond, we stayed close. Even when life happened, jobs, relationships, bills, we called, texted, met up when we could. She was there for my engagement. I was there for her many, many breakups. I won't lie, Sam's life was a constant whirlwind. She always had a story. One year she was in love with a bartender who moved to LA and ghosted her. The next, she was fighting with a DJ who borrowed her rent money and disappeared. She changed jobs like outfits, barista, receptionist, substitute teacher, Uber driver. Still, I stuck by her. She was my friend, my sister in everything but blood. So when she called me last spring, sobbing into the phone, I didn't hesitate. Claire, I don't know what to do. Matt kicked me out. I've been sleeping in my car. I just need a place to stay for a bit, I swear. I'll find something soon. Please. I sat on the edge of our bed, phone pressed to my ear, heart twisting. Where are you right now? I asked. Behind a Walmart. I feel disgusting. I haven't showered in 2 days. I'm so ashamed, Claire. That was all it took. I told her to drive straight to our place. Michael and I had a guest room, and even though he was already asleep, I knew he wouldn't mind. He didn't. The next morning, after I explained the situation, Michael rubbed his eyes, yawned, and said, It's fine. She's your best friend. We've got space. Just tell her to clean up herself, okay? I nodded, already texting Sam the code to our garage door. Looking back, that moment replays in my head over and over. That green light. That one decision. The beginning of everything unraveling. When Sam arrived that afternoon, she looked like a shell of herself. Greasy hair pulled into a messy bun, dark circles under her eyes, one small suitcase, and a reusable grocery bag stuffed with clothes. I wrapped her in a hug, held her tightly. Thank you, she whispered, voice cracking. You have no idea what this means to me. Michael shook her hand politely and offered her a beer. You're welcome here, Sam. Just treat it like home until you get back on your feet. She smiled at him, and something about the look lingered too long. But I ignored it. I chalked it up to nerves. Relief. Desperation. This was Sam. My best friend. My ride or die. She wasn't a threat. Right? That first week, things were manageable. Sam cleaned up, bought groceries once, even made us dinner one night, chicken Alfredo and garlic bread. She told funny stories, helped walk the dogs, even offered to help clean the garage. She wasn't just being a good guest. She was being the friend I remembered from college. But slowly, little things started to shift. Tiny things that didn't seem like much, until they became too many to ignore. One of the first signs was how she began dressing around the house. At first, it was pajamas and leggings. Then it turned into crop tops and tight shorts. Once, I came home early from work and found her in the kitchen wearing one of Michael's old t-shirts and nothing else. She laughed when she saw my face. Oh my God, Claire, sorry. I was doing laundry and just threw this on. Hope you don't mind. Michael had looked up briefly from the couch, said nothing, and returned to his phone. Another time, I caught her opening a bottle of wine at 3 p.m. A little day drink never hurt anyone, she giggled. Come on, you work so hard. Relax with me. I politely declined. She started calling Michael Mikey. She'd touch his shoulder when she passed him. Laugh a little too loud at his corny jokes. I noticed how she lingered in the living room after dinner when I went upstairs to shower. Still, I told myself it was just my imagination. I didn't want to be the crazy, jealous wife accusing her friend of seduction. Besides, Michael wasn't that type. He wasn't, right? But there was this one night, a Friday I'll never forget. We had just finished eating Chinese takeout, and I went to the kitchen to rinse dishes. I heard them laughing from the living room. I peeked around the corner. Sam was sitting on the armrest of the couch, far too close to Michael, her hand resting on the back of the couch behind his head. Their faces were close. Too close. When I stepped into the room, they jumped apart like kids caught passing notes in church. "What's so funny?" I asked, trying to keep my tone light. "Oh, just a TikTok," Sam said quickly, grabbing her phone and holding it up like proof. Michael nodded but didn't meet my eyes. That was the night I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, eyes wide open, while Michael snored softly next to me. My brain was loud with doubts I didn't want to admit were forming. I told myself I was just tired, overthinking. That Sam would never betray me, and Michael wouldn't dare. But somewhere deep in my gut, something had cracked. A whisper I couldn't unhear. Something's wrong. Something is very, very wrong. The next few weeks felt like living inside a glass house where everyone pretended the cracks weren't spreading. On the surface, life was normal. I worked my nursing shifts, Michael kept his long hours in IT, and Sam picked up a part-time gig at a coffee shop down the street. We ate dinner together sometimes, watched Netflix, even went grocery shopping like some kind of makeshift family. But beneath that thin layer of normalcy, my gut was screaming louder every day. It was in the way Sam always seemed to know when Michael was coming home, as if she had memorized the sound of his car in the driveway. She'd scurry to the bathroom and reappear with lip gloss on, hair brushed, wearing something more revealing than what she had on 20 minutes earlier. It was in the way Michael's eyes lingered a second too long when she bent down to tie her sneakers. It was in the inside jokes they suddenly seemed to share, jokes I wasn't part of, jokes that made them glance at each other and laugh a little too hard. One night, I sat on the back porch with Sam. We were sipping wine, and for the first time in days it felt like old times. "You really saved me, Claire," she said, swirling her glass. "I don't know what I'd do without you. You're like a sister." Her words should have comforted me. But something about the way she said them, the way her eyes flickered toward the living room where Michael was watching TV, made my stomach knot. "We've always had each other's backs," I said carefully. "That's never going to change, right?" She smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. "Of course. Always." But even as she said it, I felt the shift. The unspoken truth hanging in the air. The first undeniable crack came on a random Wednesday. I had finished a long 12-hour shift and came home exhausted, ready to collapse. When I walked into the living room, I found Sam and Michael sitting side by side on the couch, whispering and laughing. My sudden entrance startled them. Sam quickly grabbed her phone, and Michael straightened like a schoolboy caught cheating on a test. "What's so funny?" I asked, kicking off my shoes. "Oh, just, this meme," Michael stammered, holding up his phone. Sam was showing me. But I noticed something. His phone screen was off. Completely black. I forced a smile, pretending not to notice. "Well, don't laugh too hard without me. I want to be in on the joke next time." That night in bed, while Michael snored beside me, I stared at the ceiling, my chest heavy with dread. A few days later, my suspicions deepened. Michael had always been casual with his phone. He left it lying around, face up, unlocked. But now, he took it everywhere. The bathroom, the garage, even when he showered, it was perched on the sink like a sacred artifact. He had also changed his passcode, something he hadn't done in years. One morning, while he was in the shower, I tested my theory. I picked up his phone. Sure enough, passcode required. I felt my throat tighten. "Why now, Michael?" The real breaking point came one Saturday. Michael said he had to work late, which wasn't unusual. But when I texted him around 8 p.m., he didn't reply. Around 9:30, I pulled into our driveway after running errands, and there, through the front window, I saw them. Sam and Michael sitting on the couch. Too close. Her hand resting on his thigh. I sat frozen in my car, staring through the glass, heart hammering like a drum. They didn't kiss, not that I saw, but it didn't matter. The intimacy was there. The betrayal was already alive, pulsing in the air between them. I stayed in the car for 20 minutes, hands gripping the wheel, breathing through the rage. When I finally went inside, they had jumped apart, sitting at opposite ends of the couch. "Hey, Claire," Sam chirped too brightly. "We were just watching a movie." Michael nodded quickly, his smile strained. I smiled back, pretending not to see. But inside I knew. Still, I needed proof. Hard, undeniable proof. That came sooner than I expected. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon. Michael was in the shower, and his phone buzzed on the nightstand. Normally, I would have ignored it, but my instinct screamed. My hand shook as I picked it up. The message preview alone made me want to throw up. From Sam. Last night was amazing. I can't stop thinking about you. My vision blurred. My stomach dropped. I opened the thread. Message after message lit up the screen. Sam, when can we be alone again? I hate sneaking around, but I love being with you. Michael, careful. Claire isn't stupid. But I need you too. Sam, she doesn't have to know. You make me feel alive, Mikey. Michael, tonight after she goes to bed? My hands trembled so badly I almost dropped the phone. I set it back on the nightstand, just as the shower turned off. My face in the mirror looked like a stranger's, pale, hollow, eyes wide with betrayal. I walked downstairs, folded laundry, and smiled at Sam when she came into the kitchen. Because now I knew. And I wasn't about to blow up, not yet. No, I was going to make them regret it. After that Sunday afternoon with Michael's phone in my hand, I knew my marriage as I understood it was over. But here's the thing, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't confront either of them. Not right away. I folded the laundry, hummed softly, and even kissed Michael on the cheek when he came downstairs, smelling like fresh soap. On the outside, I was calm. On the inside, a war was raging. Because once the veil of denial is ripped away, all you see is truth. And the truth was this. My husband and my best friend were betraying me under my own roof. I wasn't going to collapse. I wasn't going to hand them my pain. No, if they thought I was stupid, I was going to let them keep thinking that, until it destroyed them. That week, I started small. I bought a tiny audio recorder off Amazon. One of those gadgets barely bigger than a thumb drive. I slipped it under the couch cushions in the living room, and one in the guest room where Sam slept. And sure enough, 2 nights later, I got what I needed. I lay in bed while Michael told me he was finishing some emails. My stomach turned as I pretended to fall asleep. Later, when the house was quiet, I retrieved the recorder. The next morning, I sat alone in my car before work, earbuds in, listening to hours of muffled sounds. Then, like a knife twisting into my chest, I heard them. Sam's laugh. Michael's low voice. The two of them whispering about not waking Claire. A kiss. My hand flew to my mouth as bile rose in my throat. I paused the recorder, tears streaming silently down my face. But even through the pain, I hit play again. I needed it. I needed every sickening word to fuel what I was about to do. A week later, on my lunch break, I sat across from a divorce attorney named Rachel Hughes. She was a sharp woman in her 40s with steel-gray eyes that missed nothing. I slid the printed text messages across her desk. I need to know my options. Rachel skimmed the pages, her lips tightening. This is clear evidence of infidelity. Given that the house is solely in your name, you're already in a strong position. With documentation like this, texts, recordings, you'll be in control of the settlement. He doesn't have much leverage. Her words steadied me. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. This was strategy. I don't just want to leave him, I said. I want him to feel it. I want her to feel it too. Rachel leaned back, folding her hands. Then gather everything. Don't tip your hand yet. The more evidence you bring me, the more airtight we make this. I left her office with a folder of paperwork and a strange sense of clarity. Back at home, I perfected the act. At dinner, I laughed at Michael's stories, even when I wanted to scream. I listened to Sam ramble about her coffee shop job, nodding like I cared. I baked cookies. I organized the pantry. I kept the rhythm of normal life, alive so they never suspected a thing. But I was watching. Always watching. Every stolen glance between them. Every time Sam touched his arm. Every time Michael's phone buzzed with her name lighting up the screen. And every night I was documenting it all, screenshots, recordings, timestamps. Michael and I had a joint account for bills and savings, but I had always kept my personal savings separate. Quietly, I opened another account. Each week, I transferred small amounts from the joint account, just enough that Michael wouldn't notice right away. It wasn't about greed. It was about survival. If he was going to betray me, I wasn't going to let him drag me down financially too. The night I decided enough was a Friday. I had just finished a 14-hour shift. My body ached, and all I wanted was a hot shower and bed. But when I walked through the door, the house was too quiet. The dogs greeted me, tails wagging, but no sound came from the living room. I climbed the stairs softly. The guest room door was cracked open. And there they were. Sam and Michael. On the bed. His shirt unbuttoned. Her hand on his chest. They didn't see me. I didn't let them. I backed away quietly, heart hammering, vision tunneling. I went into our bedroom, shut the door, and stared at myself in the mirror. My face was pale, but my eyes were steel. This wasn't going to break me. This was going to forge me. The next day, I invited them both to dinner the following Friday. Just us three, I said with a bright smile. We haven't done that in a while. Michael hesitated, then agreed. Sam clapped her hands like a child. Oh my God, yes. That'll be fun. If only she knew. All week, I prepared. I cooked their favorite meal. I set the table beautifully. I opened a bottle of expensive wine we had been saving for a special occasion. But the real preparation was upstairs in the living room. I had linked my laptop to the TV. I had every text, every screenshot, every recording queued up in a slideshow. They thought I was the clueless wife, the naive best friend. But when that remote hit my hand, their little fantasy world was going to burn. The day I chose to flip the script started like any other. From the outside, our home looked normal, Michael sipping his coffee before work, Sam pretending to be scrolling her phone on the couch. But beneath the surface, I was a volcano, ready to erupt with precision, not chaos. If there's one thing betrayal taught me, it's patience. For weeks, I had been gathering proof. Phone screenshots, secret audio recordings, bank statements showing suspicious charges Michael had made when working late. Sam had no idea that I'd mirrored her phone onto an old iPad of mine, giving me front-row access to her messages. Every "can't wait for tonight," and "she doesn't suspect a thing," went straight to my device like they were writing me an open letter of disrespect. But my plan wasn't just about catching them. No, that would be too easy. I wanted them to feel what I felt, the humiliation, the betrayal, the sting of realizing that the person you trusted most had sold you out. And for that, timing mattered. It was Michael's birthday coming up, and Sam had sweetly offered to help me plan something special for him. The audacity almost made me laugh out loud. She thought she was sneaky, thinking I was clueless while she whispered about hotels and excuses. So I played along. "Oh, Sam, you're such a lifesaver," I told her one night as she browsed cake designs with me at the dining table. "I don't know what I'd do without you." She smiled with that fake innocence she had mastered, not realizing I was already orchestrating the stage where her mask would fall off. I decided Michael's birthday party would be the perfect moment. I invited a few close friends, some of his co-workers, and even his sister, Lisa, who never really liked Sam. I needed witnesses. Nothing hits harder than public exposure. A few days before the party, I accidentally left a shopping bag in Sam's room. Inside was a lacy red dress, something she would drool over. It wasn't mine, of course. I had bought it just for her, because I knew she couldn't resist temptation. Sure enough, 2 nights later, I checked my mirrored iPad and saw her texting Michael. "I'll wear that red dress you love. She'll never know. Can't wait." Meanwhile, I also scheduled a little surprise of my own. I hired a photographer friend, Dana, to act like she was casually snapping pictures at the party, but secretly focus on capturing reactions. I wanted Sam and Michael's faces documented when the truth came crashing down. The night of the party arrived. The house smelled of vanilla candles and freshly baked food. Everyone mingled, glasses of wine in hand, music humming in the background. Michael looked nervous, though he tried to hide it behind a forced smile. "Sam." She walked in like she owned the place, wearing the dress. The same one I had planted. "Oh wow, Sam, you look festive," Lisa said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. I bit my lip to keep it from grinning. The moment came when I stood to give a short toast for Michael. Everyone gathered around, drinks raised. "I just want to thank you all for being here tonight to celebrate my husband," I began, my voice steady. "Michael has been my partner for over a decade. We've built a home, a family, a life together. But what makes a marriage strong isn't just love, it's trust. Let that last word linger." Michael shifted uncomfortably. Sam glanced down at her glass. "And trust, my friends, is something that once broken, can never be the same." The room went quiet. You could hear a pin drop. I pulled out the iPad I had hidden behind the counter and connected it to the TV with a single click. Suddenly, the living room screen lit up with text messages, their text messages. The ones where they mocked me. The ones where they planned their little rendezvous. Gasps echoed around the room. Lisa muttered, "Oh my God." Someone dropped their glass, shattering it against the floor. Michael's face drained of color. Sam froze, her fake smile evaporating as she realized every single person had just read her betrayal in black and white. Michael stammered, "Claire, I can explain." "Explain?" I cut him off, my voice sharp but calm. "What exactly are you going to explain? The fact that you've been sneaking around with my so-called best friend under my roof? The woman I took in when she had nothing?" Sam tried to step forward. "Claire, please, it's not what it looks like." I snapped my fingers and Dana clicked a photo at just the right moment. Sam's panicked face, Michael's shame written all over him. Perfect evidence of guilt. "Oh no, Sam," I said, glaring at her. "It's exactly what it looks like. You paraded around here like a sister, while stabbing me in the back every chance you got. And Michael," I turned to him, "you didn't just cheat. You embarrassed me. In front of our friends, our family, our entire lives." No one spoke. The silence was thick, heavy with judgment. Then Lisa broke it. "You're disgusting," she spat at Michael. "Both of you." Several others nodded in agreement. But I wasn't done. Oh no, this wasn't just about exposing them. It was about cutting them off entirely. "You know what the funny thing is?" I said, pulling out an envelope from under the table. "I already filed for divorce. Yesterday. And guess what, Michael? I'm keeping the house. I also moved most of our savings into my name before you could waste it on hotel rooms with her." Michael's jaw dropped. "And Sam," I added, turning to her, "you might want to check your car in the driveway. Because it's not there. The repo man took it this morning. I know you were behind on payments." Her face went pale. "I gave you a place to stay, food to eat, clothes to wear. And this is how you repay me? Consider yourself evicted. Tonight. Pack your things and go. Both of you." The room buzzed with murmurs. A few guests clapped quietly, others shook their heads in disbelief. Michael looked like he might faint. Sam bolted for the stairs, probably to grab her stuff before anyone else saw her cry. As for me, I raised my glass one final time. "To trust," I said, my voice strong. "May we all learn who truly deserves it." I drank, and for the first time in months, the wine tasted sweet. That night, Michael slept in a motel. Sam? She had no choice but to call her estranged brother for a couch to crash on. And me? I slept like a baby, knowing the stage was set for the aftermath I had been waiting for. The morning after the party felt surreal. For the first time in months, I woke up without that pit of dread in my stomach. The truth was out. The lies had been ripped into daylight. Michael's empty side of the bed no longer haunted me, it empowered me. But healing doesn't happen overnight. Betrayal leaves wounds that don't just close up with one bold act of revenge. I had burned the bridge, sure, but now I had to face the wreckage on my side of the river. By the next week, word had spread through our social circle like wildfire. It turns out people love gossip, especially when it's juicy. Suddenly, I was the woman who took down her cheating husband and fake friend in front of everyone. My inbox filled with messages, some from people applauding me, some from women sharing their own heartbreaks, and others from people just wanting the tea. Lisa called me almost every day, checking in. "You did the right thing," she reassured me one morning. "Michael made his bed, now he can lie in it alone." I appreciated her support, though it didn't erase the sting. Nights were the hardest. Sometimes I'd catch myself reaching for my phone, wanting to text Michael about some silly inside joke we used to share, before remembering he wasn't my partner anymore. He was my betrayer. As for Sam, she vanished from my life completely like a ghost. A mutual friend told me she had moved in with her brother temporarily, but things weren't going well. She didn't have a job, didn't have a car, and now her reputation was in tatters. Apparently, people she used to hang out with wanted nothing to do with her. Backstabber is a hard label to shake, especially when you've worn it so boldly. Michael, on the other hand, didn't disappear so easily. The first call came 3 days after the party. I ignored it. Then came the texts. "Claire, please just talk to me. I made a mistake. I love you. We can work through this, I swear." Mistake? He called it a mistake, like he had spilled a glass of milk instead of destroying our marriage. Finally, after a week of silence, he showed up at the house. Standing on the porch, flowers in hand like he thought he could romance his way back into my good graces. "Claire, please. Just 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking." I stepped outside, closing the door behind me. 5 minutes, I said coldly. He started rambling about how Sam meant nothing, how it was just a distraction, how he didn't want to lose me. His words were frantic, desperate, dripping with regret. "Michael," I interrupted, "do you even realize what you've done? You didn't just cheat. You destroyed the foundation of everything we built. And you did it with her, the woman you knew I trusted most." Tears welled in his eyes, but I didn't flinch. "I don't want your apologies," I said firmly. "I want my dignity back. And the only way I can have that is without you in my life." I shut the door on him, his flowers still clutched in his hand. The divorce process moved quicker than I expected. My lawyer was efficient, and thanks to my foresight with the bank accounts, I didn't get blindsided financially. The house became legally mine. The joint savings stayed in my control. Michael got, well, not much. During mediation, his face was gray with exhaustion, his voice quiet. He tried to fight for more, but the evidence of his infidelity, along with the public humiliation, didn't help his case. In the end, he walked away with his car and some personal belongings. That was it. It wasn't just a legal win. It was symbolic. I wasn't just Claire the wife anymore. I was Claire the survivor. But I'd be lying if I said it was all empowerment and victory. Some nights, I cried myself to sleep. Betrayal is a knife wound that keeps reopening, especially when memories resurface. I missed the version of Michael I thought I had. I missed the simplicity of trusting someone without second-guessing every word. Sam haunted me too. Not because I missed her, but because I couldn't believe how blind I had been. I replayed every moment in my head. Every time she'd compliment Michael, every time she'd accidentally brush his arm, every late-night conversation where she pretended to care about me. How did I not see it sooner? The answer was simple, because I loved too deeply, and I trusted too freely. Months passed, and slowly the wounds started closing. I threw myself into work, into self-care, into rediscovering who Claire was without Michael or Sam in the picture. I started therapy, and my therapist helped me untangle the web of guilt and self-blame I had trapped myself in. I joined a gym, not to revenge body my way through the pain, but because I wanted to feel strong again. Physically strong. Emotionally strong. And every mile I ran on that treadmill felt like shedding a piece of the heaviness. Friends I hadn't seen in ages came back into my orbit, and I realized just how much I had isolated myself during my marriage. I started saying yes to brunches, to girls' nights, to little trips. Slowly, laughter came easier. And here's where karma did her finest work, without me lifting another finger. Michael tried dating Sam openly after the divorce. It lasted all of 6 weeks before they crashed and burned. He cheated on her, of course, because cheaters don't magically change. She went ballistic, called him a user, and they split in an ugly, dramatic blow-up that had people talking for months. Sam eventually left town, moving in with some cousin 2 states away. Nobody missed her. Michael stayed in the same city, but he wasn't the man he used to be. He lost friends, his reputation at work tanked, and he had been demoted after his messy personal life started bleeding into his job. He lived in a small 1-bedroom apartment, alone. Meanwhile, I thrived. Almost a year after the party, I hosted another gathering at my house. This time not for Michael. Not for revenge, but for myself. As I looked around my living room, filled with laughter and warmth, I realized something. Betrayal may have broken me for a while, but it also rebuilt me into someone stronger, sharper, wiser. Sam and Michael thought they were writing me out of my own story. Instead, they became the villains who set the stage for my comeback.